This is the new Land Cruiser 300. It's the latest version of Toyota's legendary 4x4, and it's an alternative to the Land Rover Defender and Mercedes G-Class. And in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about. Some off-roaders have barely changed since they first went on sale. Well, visually anyway. Take the Jeep Wrangler for example. Sure, the new car is bigger than ever, but you can still instantly recognise it as a Jeep. The same goes for the Mercedes G-Class. Yes, it's a bit bigger now and has independent front suspension instead of an old-fashioned beam axle, but it still looks really similar to the original G-Wagon. Other off-roaders have been given a modern overhaul, like the new Land Rover Defender. You'd never mistake this for an old-school Land Rover, but it still has a similar character. The same goes for the Suzuki Jimny and the new Ford Bronco, but the Toyota Land Cruiser is a bit different because it hasn't had one identifiable look through the years. So Toyota could have been really brave with the new car's design, but it wasn't. It looks really similar to the old model. It's just as boxy and has similar square headlights. The new car does have an even taller grille though, and there's a new piece of black trim that runs from one headlight to the other. Wow. It also looks a bit tougher than the old Land Cruiser from the side, because it has some extra wheel arch extensions and deeper side skirts. The rear pillar is a slightly different shape now, but you'll probably only notice if you're a proper Land Cruiser nerd. The changes at the back are pretty tough to spot too. The new 300's brake lights are slightly pointier than the old cars, and it has a few bits of extra trim in the bumper, but that's your lot. So what do you think? Is this the coolest looking off-roader on sale? Or do you prefer something like a G-Class or a Jeep Wrangler? Let me know in the comments. We'll put a pinned comment, you can vote. Which is your favourite? Some new SUVs, like the new Land Rover Defender, use a monocoque body shell, just like an ordinary car. But others have a separate body and chassis, like the Jeep Wrangler and the Mercedes G-Class. This is a little bit old-fashioned, but having a separate chassis is better for some off-roaders because you can fit solid axles and beefy suspension to deal with massive bumps. And that's exactly what Toyota's done for the new Land Cruiser. It's built on a brand new platform called the TNGA-F, which uses a separate body and chassis. The old Toyota Land Cruiser came with one engine, a yeehaw 5.7 litre petrol V8, but you get a choice of two new V6s in the latest 300 version. First up is a 3.5 litre twin-turbo petrol V6 that produces 415 horsepower and 650 newton-meters of torque. That's a lot more than the 381 horsepower and 543 newton-meters you got from the old V8. There's also a new 3.3 litre twin-turbo V6 diesel engine. It only makes around 309 horsepower, but it cranks out a massive 700 newton-meters of torque. That's 50 newton-meters more than you get from a 3 litre 6-cylinder diesel Defender and 100 newton-meters more pulling power than a 3 litre 6-cylinder Mercedes G400D. And on top of all that, there's a rumour that Toyota is working on a hybrid Land Cruiser with a V6 petrol engine and a 180 horsepower electric motor borrowed from the hybrid Lexus LS. I know a hybrid Land Cruiser sounds a bit strange, but fuel economy does matter in off-roaders too, you know. You don't want to run out of petrol halfway across the Sahara Desert now, do you? You could get the previous Toyota Land Cruiser and the smaller Land Cruiser Prado with Toyota's kinetic dynamic suspension system. This used a load of hydraulics to automatically adjust the suspension to give you as much grip as possible on uneven surfaces. It could change the stiffness of the dampers and even disconnect the anti-roll bars to give you better axle articulation. The new Land Cruiser uses a similar system, but it's controlled by electronics instead of hydraulics, which helps it react faster to changing conditions. Toyota says this is the first time an electronic system like this has been fitted to an SUV. Some SUVs are all about style over substance, but others have to deliver the goods, like the Mercedes G-Class and the Land Rover Defender. Well, the same goes for the new Toyota Land Cruiser. The new model comes with four-wheel drive and locking differentials as standard, obviously, but there's also a system called the Multi-Terrain Select. This can automatically detect what surface you're driving on and set the car up for you, which is handy if you don't want to fiddle with the settings yourself. There's also a new multi-terrain monitor system. This works a bit like the ClearSight system in a Land Rover Defender, and it shows you a view through the car's bonnet on the infotainment system. It's supposed to stop you hitting boulders on a muddy trail, but should help you avoid tall curbs when you're parallel parking in the city too. If you want to check out my in-depth review of the new Land Rover Defender, click on the pop-out banner appearing in the top right-hand corner of the screen now. The old Land Cruiser came with an 8-speed automatic gearbox, but there's no such thing as too many gears in an off-roader. So, Toyota has crammed a whopping 10 gears into the new car. Don't worry, you still get the usual low-range gears, so you can engage super slow crawler modes to deal with steep slopes. But these extra gear ratios should help it use less fuel and emit less carbon dioxide when you're cruising on the road. The old Toyota Land Cruiser and even the smaller Prado model were brilliant off-road, but not the best on it. So Toyota has made a few changes to the new car to fix its on-road manners. For starters, its new platform is stiffer and has a lower centre of gravity than the old cars. This will help it deal with bumps better and should stop it from leaning so much in faster corners. But that's not all, because Toyota has made the new car much lighter, partly thanks to its new aluminium roof instead of the old car's steel one. The old Land Cruiser weighed more than 2,600 kilos, but the new car is 200 kilograms lighter, and reducing a car's weight makes everything better, from performance to fuel economy to tyre wear and handling, of course. Toyota has also added some upgraded safety kits, including pedestrian and cyclist detection, which might be handy if you're not used to driving such a massive car in town. Toyota has given the new Land Cruiser's interior a thorough makeover. The old car looked like it was stuck in the early 2000s, but the new model is way more high-tech. There's a new dashboard design, but the biggest change is the huge central touchscreen. This controls most of the car's functions, but not the climate control. You still get a row of old-fashioned physical buttons for that, which is great news and easier to operate when you're driving. You can get the new Land Cruiser with 5 or 7 seats, just like the old model. And because the new car is almost exactly the same size, it'll be just as roomy inside too. Toyota has also revealed a GR version of the new Land Cruiser. Yeah, a GR as in Gazoo Racing. You know, the people who built the awesome Yaris GRMN and the epic GR Yaris. But don't get too excited. This new Land Cruiser isn't some rally spec homologation special. It's more like a visual upgrade pack, a bit like Audi's S-Line or Mercedes AMG line. This means you get some different alloy wheels and new black bumpers that should hide any scratches you get while off-roading. Don't think about putting your name down for a new Land Cruiser 300 if you live in the UK or Europe, because it won't go on sale here, I'm afraid. It will go on sale in the Middle East and Russia though, sometime in 2021, and it'll probably set you back the equivalent of around £70,000. If you can't wait for that, I found a great deal on my favourite off-roader that you can buy right now. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but if you click on the pop-out banner appearing now in the top right-hand corner of the screen, you can check out the car and the deal I've got on it.